Hey folks, Lachlan here, a South African living with quadriplegic cerebral palsy. The current situation in South Africa is extremely complicated, and that is because this is a nation of two competing narratives. The first narrative is actually the daily reality of most South Africans, in which people of all races are able to peacefully live alongside one another and to cooperate without much conflict or trouble. The second narrative is the one pushed by the black political elite, which is largely a mythology intended to serve their own purposes. Now, when I talk about the daily reality of South Africa, what I mean is that people of all races in the fully integrated South Africa which I grew up in, meaning I did not grow up during apartheid, is a South Africa in which people of diverse cultures and ethnic backgrounds have been able to share a country without the majority being violent toward one another. However, the narrative that the political elite are constantly advancing is that apartheid still looms large over this country to this day, and it is apartheid that is responsible for every bad thing that occurs here, which by definition means that they are blaming white people today for causing problems that they themselves allowed to happen. Now, it's not difficult to understand why black politicians do this. They are deeply corrupt and incompetent, and in a country where the vast majority of South Africans, regardless of background or race, is struggling simply to make ends meet. Politicians live lives of such wealth and opulence that they can be fairly compared to a modern royalty because that's how they live. They travel in high class European cars, they travel with armed security, and they live in palatial mansions, while many South Africans are lucky even to have homes of their own to live in. But because the ANC has largely controlled public education and the media for the past 3 decades, there is an element of our population, particularly among young black people who did not themselves directly experience apartheid, that have bought wholesale into the myth of it to the extent that when they think of apartheid, the story that they have in their heads is that white people have almost godlike powers and that we use those powers specifically to oppress them. They imagine us as almost Marvel supervillains who sit on giant thrones and with our psychic powers find ways of constantly holding the black majority down. In reality, this is completely untrue. Most white people in South Africa, including myself, my family, and all the other people I've known in my life, do not want to oppress anyone. We simply want the freedom to live our own lives as we choose to govern them. It is this narrative that we continue to be oppressors and that black and white can never coexist that prevents South Africa from meaningfully progressing and moving forward into the future. Our political class has kept the majority of this country focused on race politics because by doing so, they have secured their own power, their own authority, and their own wealth. But the ANC, as a political movement, has failed so profoundly that their power over the narrative is now truly beginning to collapse, which may or may not be a good thing for the country as a whole, depending on who steps forward to fill the vacuum once the ANC becomes politically irrelevant. I hope, as always, that you found something of value in this content. Look after yourselves, take care of each other, and for now, farewell.